This is the shocking connection between narcissistic abuse and chronic clutter you can't escape. Have you ever looked around your home and felt buried under piles of belongings you just can't seem to sort through? What if that clutter isn't just about being messy, but actually a reflection of something deeper? Surprisingly, there's a powerful link between chronic clutter and narcissistic abuse. While it may not seem obvious at first, the emotional chaos caused by a narcissistic relationship can spill into your physical environment, making it incredibly difficult to keep things organized. This isn't just about a messy room, it's about the emotional residue left behind from a toxic relationship. Today, let's explore how clutter and emotional trauma are often two sides of the same coin, and how recognizing this connection can help you take back control of both your space and your well-being. Let's dive into the first major reason: emotional overload from triggers. What might seem like a simple cleanup task can quickly become emotionally charged. Going through personal items, photos, clothing, notes can unexpectedly bring back memories of the abuse, making the experience feel draining instead of freeing. Suddenly, you're not just dealing with physical stuff. You're living past pain. Therapist Dr. Laura Brown, author of the Trauma Toolkit, notes that trauma often leaves an imprint not only on the mind, but also on our surroundings. The items we keep can carry emotional weight that's hard to face. This is why decluttering can feel so impossible when you're in recovery from narcissistic abuse. The good news? You don't have to do it all at once. In fact, you shouldn't. Healing from both clutter and trauma happens gradually. Life coach Marie Forleo reminds us, progress, not perfection, is what matters. Start with one drawer, one shelf, something small. Give yourself permission to stop when it feels like too much, and recognize that each step you take is an act of self-respect and healing. The goal isn't just to clear out space, it's to make room for peace. As you slowly reclaim your environment, you're also reclaiming parts of yourself that were buried under years of emotional disarray, and that's something worth celebrating. Let's dive into number 2, using material things as emotional bandages. After being in a relationship where your worth was constantly diminished, it's natural to look for something, anything, to fill that emotional emptiness. Often, this turns into collecting or buying things that seem comforting in the moment. It's not about being greedy or overly attached to stuff. It's about trying to patch up deep emotional wounds. Therapist and author Dr. Gabor Mate explains in The Realm of Hungry Ghosts that unmet emotional needs often drive us to seek comfort in external sources. So when you're surrounded by clothes, gadgets, or sentimental trinkets, it's really your heart trying to reclaim something it lost: comfort, safety, and control. But here's the hard truth: while stuff might soothe you temporarily, it can't truly heal the pain underneath. In fact, the more clutter you accumulate, the more overwhelmed you may feel. And that's okay. It's a response shaped by survival, not weakness. The path forward isn't about tossing everything out overnight. It's about shifting the focus inward. Life coach Cheryl Richardson reminds us in The Art of Extreme Self-Care that true fulfillment comes from nurturing your inner self. Ask yourself what your soul is craving in this moment. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's validation. Maybe it's the courage to speak your truth. Releasing the clutter isn't just a physical task. It's a symbolic step toward giving yourself what you truly deserve. Now, on to number 3, the trap of perfectionism. It's that feeling where everything has to be done flawlessly, or not at all. And if you've lived with a narcissist who tore you down or nitpicked everything, this mindset can take root deeply. You may find yourself frozen, unable to start decluttering, because the thought of not doing it right is paralyzing. Perfectionism creates pressure, not progress. As researcher Brené Brown writes in The Gifts of Imperfection, it's less about excellence and more about the need to prove yourself worthy of love or approval. The clutter that surrounds you, it often mirrors the internal chaos and fear of failure. But waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions only prolongs the cycle. You don't need a full-day overhaul or a magazine-ready home. As James Clear explains in Atomic Habits, real change happens through small, consistent steps. Try starting with just one tiny space, a drawer, a box, a corner. Give yourself permission to make it imperfect, messy, human. Because in healing, the goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. One step at a time, you'll find your rhythm again. Let's move forward to number 4, using clutter as a shield. In the aftermath of narcissistic abuse, clutter often becomes more than just a mess. It turns into a form of protection. Imagine it like stacking walls around yourself, only instead of bricks, you're using books you never read, clothes you never wear, and boxes you never unpacked. These items create a buffer between you and the world, giving a sense of emotional distance and safety. Psychologist Dr. Craig Malkin, author of Rethinking Narcissism, notes that when someone you trusted has hurt you deeply, it's a natural instinct for your brain to find ways to feel secure again. Even if those ways are unconventional, the clutter around you reflects the emotional walls you've put up inside. But here's the twist. While that physical shield may help you feel safe in the short term, it can quietly become a trap. What once felt like safety starts to feel like confinement. You're surrounded by things meant to protect you, but instead, they start holding you back. Recognizing this is a breakthrough moment. You don't have to tear everything down at once, but you can start opening a window here and there. Bit by bit, you can create a space that protects and nurtures you, not one that keeps you stuck. Now, on to number 5. Clutter as a quiet rebellion for control. After being in a relationship where someone constantly dictated your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors, even the smallest choices can feel revolutionary. Keeping a chipped mug or stacks of old receipts might not make sense to anyone else, but to you, they represent autonomy. It's your stuff, your decision, your space. Psychologist Dr. Susan David, in her book Emotional Agility, explains that in situations where people feel stripped of control, they often cling to small actions to reclaim a sense of agency. Holding on to clutter can feel like one of those actions, a personal assertion of I decide. But what starts as a comfort can quietly morph into a burden. As more things pile up, what once symbolized freedom starts to limit it. The clutter begins to dictate your emotional energy, your environment, your peace. It's like trying to steer a ship with anchors tied to the deck. The good news, releasing doesn't mean losing control. It means redirecting it toward healing, clarity, and creating a space that reflects who you are now, not who you were during the abuse. One item at a time, you can shift from surviving to thriving. Control doesn't come from clinging to things. It comes from choosing what truly serves you. Ready for number 6? Let's talk about uncertainty around ownership. When you've spent time under the influence of a narcissist, something as basic as knowing what belongs to you, physically and emotionally, can become strangely complicated. Narcissists tend to blur lines and boundaries. Maybe they criticize you for buying something, made you feel guilty for wanting to toss out old belongings, or claimed shared ownership over things that were clearly yours. After a while, you begin to question yourself. Is it okay to keep this? Do I need permission to let it go? Therapist Beverly Engel, in The Emotionally Abusive Relationship, explains that abusers distort boundaries to maintain control and dependency. That kind of manipulation makes it difficult to feel confident about what you're allowed to do with your own possessions. And when that self-doubt settles in, it's easy to avoid decisions altogether, leading to more and more stuff accumulating around you. But here's a reminder. It's your space, your stuff, and your rules. Regaining that clarity doesn't have to be overwhelming. Karen Kingston, author of Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui, recommends starting with items you know are yours, things that reflect who you are now and who you're becoming. Each time you choose to keep or release something, you're exercising your independence and reinforcing your right to control your own life. You're not just cleaning up, you're reclaiming your voice. And here we are at number 7, fear of not having enough. After narcissistic abuse, it's completely normal to fall into a scarcity mindset. The trauma leaves emotional scars that convince you love, safety, and resources are limited. This belief can trickle into your relationship with material things. You might find yourself hanging onto items out of fear that you'll need them someday or that they won't be replaceable. That reaction is more than just habit. It's a protective mechanism. Narcissists often instill fear that you're incapable on your own, planting the idea that what you have now might be all you'll ever get. As Dr. Bonnie Zucker explains in the Anxiety Toolkit, when your sense of stability has been repeatedly undermined, holding on to tangible items can feel like the only form of security you can control. But here's the truth. Real security comes from believing in your resilience, not your possessions. Letting go of what you don't need isn't reckless. It's restorative. It opens the door to trust. Trust that your needs will be met, that you're capable, and that abundance doesn't always look like a full drawer or a packed closet. Gretchen Rubin, in Outer Order, Inner Calm, writes that creating external order can lead to inner peace. Even clearing one small area can be symbolic, proof that you're not living under fear anymore. You're moving forward, one decision at a time, toward a life where you call the shots. And that's a powerful form of healing.